my Lieberfriends, and welcome to Full Length Fridays. I am Lieberman as always, and I have two fantastic guests with me today, Bria and Chrissy, who are amazing YouTubers. Where can they find you?
We are at youtube.com/Bria and Chrissy.
Yeah, and you guys do some of the same things that I do. You give advice, but you also do a lot of amazing comedy and music. And you guys should all check out their channel. There's gonna be a link down there in the description, and we're gonna answer 3 emails to get today.
We're excited.
Yeah, and this is
a great introduction, by the way. That was so sweet.
Thanks for having us.
This was all made possible, of course, by the fantastic Mr. Jonathan Katz, whose info is also in the description, and the YouTube Collab Camp, and I just want to thank him for helping put this together. So the first email is from a Lieberfriend named Shane. Shane writes, "Hello Matt, my name is Shane and I'm confused. I'm bisexual and sort of closeted, sort of not. I only tell people who I know won't judge me. I've not told my parents because they are really religious and they treat being homosexual like a sickness. The reason I've emailed you is because I'm slowly finding myself liking guys more than girls. I don't know if this means I'm gay or not. I think I'm fighting it, but I don't know. I don't like how some gays portray being homosexual, so that's the one reason I'm probably fighting it. Am I gay? Do you ever struggle with your sexuality, or do you not know how I feel? I would love your opinion, and Matt, you're super cute." That's very, very sweet of you, Shane. That's very, very sweet. Well, I mean, first thing I'll say to that, and to like your later questions, is yeah, I think a couple of years ago I realized that, you know, I don't know if I'm bi. Personally, sexuality, in my opinion, is something that's kind of fluid for some people. Like, I personally, like, there are guys that I'm attracted to. I don't know that I'd ever do anything with them, but I can recognize, like, that's an attractive dude. I love being around him. I want a hug from that guy. You know, there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
yeah, absolutely not.
I think that everybody is attracted to attractive people. I mean, as people, we're all just people. I think it's really, whenever I hear people that are like straight and they're like, I can't.
Hi, car.
Hello. I forget that this is not being edited.
Yeah.
I'm not used to doing non-edited stuff. So when guys say things like, you know, I can't see if a guy's attractive or not because I'm super, super straight. Like, that doesn't make sense. We're all just people.
You can all recognize.
Yeah, and I think that you know, you're spot on. That everyone's on this like sliding scale, and you know that scale can change. You can be, you know, like sometimes you feel super, super gay, and sometimes you feel super, super more on the straight side. But I think we all kind of fall somewhere in the middle.
And I think as society, as these labels of like, or not labels, but these really intense structures of that people put themselves in, these boxes, they start to sort of break away. You're going to see that men and women both start expressing their sexuality and exploring it so much more as acceptance rises.
Yeah.
And I, for Shane, you know, I feel like you don't need to be afraid of acting homosexual. You should just be yourself. Like, everyone should just be themselves and do express yourself as however you're comfortable.
Yeah, there's no word that describes who you are other than one, and that word is Shane. You are Shane, and Shane is sometimes into dudes, sometimes into girls. Maybe right now Shane is more into dudes than girls, and that's fucking perfect. Sometimes, you know, you're going to feel like maybe you say something in here that kind of confuses me, and maybe I'm reading it wrong. But you say, I don't like how some gays portray being homosexual, so that's one reason I'm probably fighting it. And I'm wondering if you're talking about being flamboyant, or if you're I don't know what you're talking about there. I guess I just want you to know that whoever you are, however you want to be, regardless of whether it has anything to do with your sexuality, if that's who you are, then embrace it. Dude, I'm a straight guy who loves to dance by himself and wear loud fucking colors and like sing show tunes, and some people would say back when I was young, that means that you're gay. And it confused me for a long time. You are whoever you want to be, and don't let anyone else's labels fucking box you up. It's just a waste of your time and energy.
Great.
Absolutely. And it's important to remind you that even though you feel like your parents aren't accepting you now because they're very religious and whatnot, you have this outlet. Obviously, you're on YouTube, you're seeking out advice, you're seeing other people telling you to just be who you are and express yourself. So continue doing that, and if you're not in a safe place to maybe do that at home, just wherever you are in your life, be comfortable with what am I trying to say?
I was distracted by the car going by.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, if you feel like it's not a safe space at home or your parents aren't going to accept you, there are so many people out in the world that want you to just be Shane and to just be yourself. And so if it can't happen right this second, just wait a couple years. I don't know when you're going to be out of the house, but you're going to be able to embrace that and be able to live fully just as you want.
Yeah, and dude, if you're looking for a community, come join our Lieberfriends hangouts. We have everybody. We have healthy people, we have sick people, we have gay people, we have trans people, we have straight people. Everyone's there, and we all fucking love each other. If you're looking for a safe space to just be yourself, that's a great place to do it. You could also go to reddit.r/Lieberfriends, where they're setting up Google Hangouts even without me, if you can't make it to one of those. And like, fucking also, just love yourself, dude. There's nothing wrong with you. You are made perfectly, exactly who you were supposed to be. And, you know, I'm so sorry that your parents don't quite get that yet. There may come a day, there may not, where they understand that you are who you are and that you're beautiful. We can't always get the relationship with our parents that we want, as much as we would prefer that that were the case. Try to find your tribe. Try to find your people who make you feel special and loved and safe, and hopefully your family will come along for the ride as well. All right. Is that good? All right.
Yeah.
All right, this next email, I hope that helps. Shane. The next email comes from Steven. Steven writes, he's 20 years old. He said, first of all, I'm a big fan of you and of SourceFed. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Now to business. I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend for 5 months now. I've been very happy being with him. He is very kind and compassionate to me. I was raped when I was 17, and the relationships that I put myself in after that were abusive, and I'm lucky that I found my way out of them. And I'm very glad that you found your way out of them too, because that is not a good situation. My boyfriend now is the first one to actually care about me. He puts me first and helps me deal with my anxiety. There are a few things that worry me though. First off, none of my friends like him. They have all said that he is controlling of me. There are a few things that he does that could be taken as controlling. Yes, like when I'm going through a tough period with a friend or with work. Sorry. He tells me how to deal with it and wants me to do it his way. Sometimes he's given me a script of what to say. At the root of that is that he cares and he wants me to go the route of less pain with the situation. Right? He doesn't want me to be upset or to have an anxiety attack. I don't really stand up for myself and let people walk over me a lot of the time. But I can understand why people can see that as controlling. The other point that I'm worried about is that I've become very dependent on him to deal with my anxiety, and that scares me. We've only been together for 5 months. This relationship is still in its honeymoon stage, and I don't know how I'm going to handle things if we break up and I'm left without the person that has helped me the most. We said I loved you very early on in our relationship, and heck, this relationship started off online and all we were really interested in was having sex with each other, but we got to know each other and things became deeper, and once I moved back to the state where he was, don't worry, it's my home state and I moved for me and not just to be with him. I don't know if I said the L word too soon or not, but I know that I care very much about him. I don't know what I'm doing. I want this relationship to last, but at the same time, I don't want to get too deep and have it ripped from me. I can't seek the advice of my friends because they have their set opinion of him and all they want is for me to dump him. First of all, let me tell you this, Steven. No one knows what they're doing. Don't have the illusion that there are people who have it together. No one does. There are no adults. There are only older children. We're all fumbling through life and trying to help each other by comparing and contrasting experiences. I am and am not worried about the relationship. We'll talk about depending on him for your anxiety because that's a whole other issue. But in terms of the controlling you thing, the one example that you're giving me, you're right. It does come from an honest and sweet place, I think, because he's trying to help you guide through these situations that are very emotionally difficult, and he's trying to provide you with the best set of tools. However, he is kind of robbing you of the experience of figuring out what to say for yourself, and is robbing you of important growth by giving you a shortcut. And maybe, you know, that's not necessarily what your friends are talking about, but that does kind of worry me. I like the idea of coming up with a list of things to say, but you should be the one coming up with those things, because they should be your feelings, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think that we all as people need to figure out the map of the road of life ourselves. And, you know, it's always great to seek advice from the people that you care about, but in the end, it needs to come from you. Yeah, you need to have these life experiences. As well as being an independent person, you need to be able to, you know, feel comfortable and deal with the anxiety that you're having, whether it's going to seek help, whether it's, you know, getting on medication, or doing things that are really important to you, seeking out hobbies and maintaining your own health without having to rely on somebody else for that.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm so sorry for what you went through at 17. That's incredibly traumatic, and I can't imagine the kind of anxiety and struggles that has made you face. But it just, heart is with you, because it's such a difficult thing to overcome. What you were both saying, I think having someone make a list to help you get through the things, maybe that's great to have some points, but you have to also have input on that. You can't have someone telling you, this is what you need to do, and I'm right because I'm not anxious, or I'm not going through this, and I know that this is the right choice for you. That in itself, I think, is controlling and is a red flag. Obviously, it can come from a good place, but if this person has their own struggles with, say, controlling behavior or whatever, then they're going to be exhibiting that onto you, and that's just going to continue their own, bad behavior, kind of, not bad behavior, but not the healthiest behavior. And so it's just sort of a vicious cycle that's going to continue. I think that what you said, you need to seek some mental health. If you don't have insurance, there's a lot of low-cost mental health, or there's things online and a medication. So definitely think that you can get through this, but what you said is finding your own independence and your own inner strength. You cannot ever seek that from someone else, because that's just going to take you down a long road of hurt and
Yeah.
pain.
I think that both points can be addressed with the same thing, which is you talk about the fact that people tend to walk all over you, and you don't tend to stick up for yourself very much. And a lot of people feel that way. I know I was that way for a very long time, and it's hard to speak up and to share your opinion when you don't fully value yourself. And that may stem from the trauma that you dealt with when you were 17. It may be something that you've been dealing with for a lot longer. But I think that in terms of using him to deal with your anxiety, it's ultimately, it will blow up your relationship. Like, to be blunt, it will blow up your relationship if you are unable to handle your anxiety on your own and you keep relying on him for more and more and more support. There may come a day where he comes to resent you for taking so much. And also, you're not going to get the growth that you require. Finding your inner strength, as Chrissy was talking about, is going to make it a lot easier to handle those anxious moments, even when he's not there to back you up. And I highly encourage you to seek fucking help. Like, I talk about therapy all the time on this channel. I think that you would benefit so much from it. And having a safe, objective place to sort through your issues and your pain, not with a friend whose opinion is subjective and you may come away disappointed, not with a boyfriend who, may be trying to say something just because they're part of this relationship and they're trying to find a way to make things feel calm and easy. Having an objective person to talk to just matters so very, very much.
It will change your life 180 degrees. I mean, and even finding, if you find a therapist and you're not comfortable with that person, just because you found a therapist doesn't mean they're right for you. I mean, it's a relationship in itself. So find someone that you're comfortable with, and it will make things a night and day difference. Yeah.
And I'm sorry that your friends don't like him. It fucking sucks to have no support from your friends when you're really into a relationship and they only see one side of it. And there comes a point where they don't even want to hear you anymore when you're trying to defend it or explain it. It stinks to not have that support, and I'm sorry that that's where you are. Know that may not last forever. Know that as fucked up as it sounds, there are always more friends. Really try to look at your relationship honestly without rose-colored glasses. Like, if this was someone else's relationship and you were just looking at the behavior, how would you feel? If this was not your boyfriend and you, if this was not the person that you loved, if it was not the person that you were attracted to who supports you, how would you feel about that behavior? And you can better understand where your friends are coming from and better have a way to have a dialogue with them about it. The last thing that I'll say is have hope that you will have a supportive and loving relationship. That is something that you are very capable of having and that you will have in your life. One of my longest and most serious relationships, the first person that I thought I would marry was someone who was a survivor of sexual assault. And it was something that we didn't really know how to communicate about, and if we had, I think our relationship would have worked a lot better. But she is now in a very supportive and loving relationship. She's living her dream. She's a professional photographer, and they're fucking crazy about each other, and they're treating it like adults. The most important thing for you, I think, is to be able to communicate very clearly with a partner what you need to feel safe and feel loved. And while this may seem perfect now, I want you to really think about what you really do need, and is that actually coming out in this relationship, or is it not? Have you communicated that to your boyfriend? Are there things that do make you uncomfortable that maybe you're willing to deal with because you're so happy to have someone so good? Looking at it honestly, I think is going to be very, very important going forward, and I hope that that helps. All right, we got one more email to discuss. Final email of the day. This email is from a Lieberfriend, and she writes, we'll wait for this car. There's not a lot of cars on this street, but there's enough. Dear Matt, first of all, your videos are all really great, and thank you so much for making them. I have a question about some members of my section in orchestra. I'm going to give you all the info, but it's a little specific. So I am the lead trumpeter of 5 trumpeters in an orchestra, a reasonably big deal youth orchestra, and I'm the only girl in the pole brass section. There's nothing wrong with that, but all the others knew each other beforehand and have a very lads-on-tour mentality towards life. And then in parentheses she writes, does that make any sense, or is that just an English thing? They're bros, if you know what I mean. The only trouble with this is that I know for a fact that 2 of these boys are homophobic, and I'm gay. They haven't been homophobic directly towards me, maybe because I'm not super vocal about my gayness, but they have told my other friend in the orchestra that they think that being gay is a choice, and they use words like fag a lot. To me, this feels like a betrayal. I'm sitting next to these people for days at a time, and I feel like it's a personal betrayal and offense to me that they think my sexuality is a choice. However, I don't know how to bring it up in conversation to maybe help them change their views because they've never directly said stuff towards me. You see the dilemma. Do you have any advice for how to deal with it? Thanks again. You guys want to start this one?
Yeah, I feel for you. I currently not currently, but I've been in bands, and I've been with specifically in all male bands, and being the only female has been often difficult because there is that real bro mentality that guys get, especially around each other in groups. And so I think it usually intensifies whatever their particular opinions are. So that can be very difficult to be around that. And especially I found it personally difficult to stand up for myself often because of that bro mentality. And gosh, at times when I would try to stand up for myself, and I would probably say that's probably the best thing for you to do, is because it's going to eat you alive if you don't say something, and you have to sit with this and continue to sit with this, because you never know. Sometimes people surprise you, and by saying something like, hey, this really does hurt my feelings. I'm sitting right next to you, and you're making personal attacks about my character, and you're fine to have your beliefs, but I would prefer if you would, not say these statements out loud. And you never know, maybe people will change their opinions, or they'll, keep their personal opinions to themselves.
I think calling someone out and pull them aside by themselves, when people are taken out of that group and their pack behavior, they're so much more vulnerable and so much more honest and responsible for their feelings, and it really puts them on the spot. It makes people uncomfortable, but they're so much more likely to listen to you. I know you said there's 2 members that are homophobic, so there must be a few that are not, and maybe see if you can start talking to them on the side and make friends with some of them. If all else fails, it's orchestra, high school, all of that is very, very difficult, and see if you can distance yourself in some way. Play your section, and then move out of brass. Go to the woodwinds. See if there's other friends in other sections that are more your type of personality, and people that you find are embracing you for who you are.
It's a mailman's truck. Louder.
Very loud.
I think you said something, Chrissy, that I think is very, very good advice for anybody. Which is, and this comes from like a school of management, which is praise publicly, criticize privately. If you have like a difficult conversation to have with someone where they've done something that's wronged you or that you're concerned about, never do it in public. Always pull them aside, have a conversation one-on-one so they don't feel embarrassed and clam up or ganged up on and clam up. You have the best opportunity to affect change when it's just you and that other person. And I really do think talking to some of these other guys and confiding in them and trying to build a base of support is a great idea, especially if, you know, if folks who are okay with gay people and okay with you on every level outnumber the homophobic people, they have no fucking power. I also agree that speaking your mind is the best course of action, because there's not going to be any change. There's not going to be any change to their behavior if you don't speak up. Like, God, I almost want you to say, like, oh, you have a problem with fags? Well, guess what? You're sitting next to one. Like, I don't...
Get over it.
Get over it. Like, it just makes me so angry, and I'm sure it infuriates you to have to deal with that on a daily basis. It's a risk. It's a risk that you have to take. You're taking the risk that they might lash out against you or that they may talk behind your back. And I'm sorry that that is a risk that you're taking, but it's one that I do think you should take, because it's going to eat you up inside to know that you allowed it to happen and that you never said to them, this is wrong and this is why this hurts me. We're supposed to be a team. Can you stop?
Yeah.
Why do you feel this way? Can you stop? I think that it will be very beneficial to you and a very good experience for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
To be able to take a stand here, regardless of the consequences. And there is a great chance that they will take in what you say and at the very least stop the comments. You may not change their mind, but at the very least you will raise your quality of life by not having to hear that shit every day.
And it will give you so much strength to have stood up for yourself.
Totally.
And going forward. It'll be so powerful.
And it encourages you to continue doing that throughout your life, as well as the people around you. When they see that you do it, it just continues to spread that stand up for yourself.
Yeah, and frankly, anyone, anywhere who believes that all people are equal and beautiful, if you hear someone saying that kind of shit, you let them know that it's wrong. Yeah. The only way that society will change over time is to continue to create positive examples of gay and trans people in the media, so that as people grow up, they see it and they see that it's normal, and that when we see homophobia, when we see discrimination, when we see bigotry, you let people know that they are in the minority, they are on the wrong side of history. The more that we can express our not hate, but like our stand against hate, the more that you can express that you are against hate, the easier life will become for the next generation.
Absolutely. True.
This is the truth. I want to thank you guys so much for coming on the show today. I've really enjoyed your responses, and I'm sure that everyone at home has gotten a lot out of it. Where can they find you once again?
We are YouTube/Bria and Chrissy, and
or YouTube/OurLesbianLove.
Yeah, we've loved this. You know, you had really wonderful responses, and
thank you.
We're excited to rewatch this video and continue spreading the positive message.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, and thanks again to Jonathan Katz and YouTube Collab Camp. All the links in the description, and I'll see you potentially tomorrow in the Lieberfriends Hangout, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or if not, I'll see you on Monday. Thank you very much. That was great, guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome.